Today we meet with Avadhut Maharaj. Please, I ask everybody to ask in your sincerely questions. It may be deep intellectual questions, and maybe simple hard questions. All devotees, all questions will have answer of Maharaj. Maharaj, are you hearing? Can you?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. First of all, I'm so happy to see everybody's here who's joining our little spiritual talk. I don't know if we have proper way to see each other. Let me move my camera a little bit here. Okay, maybe like that. All right. Not very good light, but maybe I can just read. So guys, today, what we will have is we have questions and answers. So how do you ask questions on Instagram, Rasananda? Because I'm streaming in Zoom and Instagram. So how do you ask questions on Instagram?
In Instagram, devotees can write commentary, and I can read this to you, and you can answer.
Okay, so let's do it. Let me just see what best way for the light. Maybe I have to reposition myself a little bit towards the light. Yeah, but maybe I'm looking at it right now. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, it's not the best ideal light, but I think like this may be better. My face look a little ugly, but it's okay. Time is going, take it all. So don't worry if you look ugly in the morning. Just, massage your face, take a little shower, drop some divine water, pray, and you'll be fine. That's self-motivation anyway. So guys, what's the question? Any questions or comments? Rasananda, do we have any questions?
Maharaj, we're waiting questions, so please, dear friends.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, thank you.
Dhanavad Pranam, Jai Shri Bhakti Bimala Avadhut Maharaj.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at you.
I'm at work. I'm
so shiny after being in India.
All by the grace of our wonderful Guru Varga. I'm working right now. I'm taking my baby out for a little walk here. We stopped to listen to your Zoom. My question is, my japa practice is terrible. Like, I have no taste for chanting japa. Like, I have to force myself to even chant 4 rounds. And sometimes I don't even do that. It's really embarrassing. Like, I made commitments even, like my first initiation was at ISKCON. Like, I forget 16 rounds. Like, I'm really bad, Maharaj, but I feel so inspired in devotional service at the same time. Like, I'm always wanting to hear from Srila Gurudev and be with the devotees. And so yeah, how can I solve my japa problem? Thank you.
Yeah, very good question. Here's man with japa. Just stick your face in here. Sudha Krishna, show your japa. And guess what?
I've been doing this for 40 years and I don't have any taste, so.
All right, so considering what we're trying to do, what means japa? Japa means chanting names of God. And when we're chanting names of God, one thing we have to understand, Krishna is God. It is a beautiful, most beautiful aspect of God. Chanting name of God is so unique and amazing spiritual practice, but you need to have a taste. In order to acquire that spiritual taste, you need to have a proper stage of consciousness. In order to have a proper stage of consciousness, you do need an inspiring association of those who's conscious. It's like you've just been in India and you have very clear perception what this country is like, how to travel to this country, what to eat, what to do. But if somebody has a very vague idea what India is and which way to go and how to get there, he needs to associate with somebody who will help him with his journey. And one thing would be like, why do you have to go to India? it sounds like a third world country. Everybody's very poor. So, your gods will tell you, you can get a disease. It's too expensive to travel. Why don't you take that money and go to massage spa and, spend all this money for your health? But then something entitled journey to divinity, and journey to divinity is journey to yourself. Although you can spend all this money that you spend for India, for your personal, physical, and mental wellness, it will not replace you're going to India with the purpose of worship and self-discovery. So I assume that journey was a lot of enthusiasm for you. Am I correct or not? Can you say a couple of words? I know you're eating, I'm sorry, but so, you're waving. Yes, it was a lot of enthusiasm. So was it easy? No, it was not easy. Was it trouble? No, it was trouble. But interestingly, you joined a group of other devotees such as Vishaka and others, and you've got some enthusiasm by traveling with those people who have similar interests. Because some people coming to India for shopping or for business or for sightseeing, museums, etc. But you're not doing that. You're spiritual exploration. So when you chant Krishna name, Maha Mantra for proper purpose, what is the proper purpose? It's not selfish, egoistic purpose. It's Krishna Anushovan, to fulfill Krishna's desire. And who brought this chanting is Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. So fulfilling desire of God, not your own desire. That's not easy, because normally everybody tells you, hey, stop fulfilling all other desires. Stop fulfilling your mother desire, your country desire, your business desire, and boss. Just do what is good for you. It's very common philosophy. Like, do what is good for you. But then you don't know who I am. What is good for me? When I work for my boss and I fulfill desires of my boss raised me satisfaction because my mother gave me birth and she loves me. But when I work for me, what does that really mean? I have to discover what is me, what is self-discovery. So through chanting name of Krishna, we're not just discovering ourselves. The self-discovery is the process. And then we also discover the God. So Krishna, who's source of beauty, love, and harmony. So this is amazing. Chanting name of Krishna give you self-discovery, but this is just beginning of a spiritual practice. Now, where do you get enthusiasm? By associating with those who have enthusiasm and avoiding offenses. There are 10 offenses of chanting of holy name. So you avoid these offenses. How do you avoid these offenses? By follow Guru and Vaishnavas, by being involved in spiritual community, by doing your devotional service. Gradually you will get the taste of holy name. Gradually you will get connections with divinity. That's why Srila Prabhupada, normally he would say, work today, samadhi later, because most people thinking, if I just do spiritual practice, then all my obligations are done, which is not true. In fact, your obligations will have different meaning for you, like taking care of your body, taking care of your family, taking care of yourself, with a spiritual inclination, with a spiritual understanding. Otherwise, the easiest way to go to God will be like just shoot yourself, right? Okay, so you pray to God, you kill yourself, you're in front of God. That's not the way. So somebody asked me a question, why is that God is so perfect and we're so imperfect? Why is that God did not transfer us so easy? It would take like a glimpse of God to make me perfect person. Yes, that's true, but where's our free will? Does Krishna trying to force us to become devotee, or he's trying to give us the freedom to have a free conscious choice? And for any kind of choice, you need time. So although this time is infinite in this virtual reality game, it doesn't, material time, like your game time, it means nothing because it's all illusionary. So it doesn't really matter whether you spend billions of life or one life or one moment. It has to happen, the click has to happen within your mind and consciousness. So anyway, Chintamani, I wish I satisfy your answer that The taste of holy name will come in association. That's why we have a kirtan. We chant with devotees and Jayadev, your friend and partner, as great kirtan. And you always need to find some association higher than yourself. So in the egocentric world, you are in center. You put yourself in center, do everything about yourself. But in the spiritual world, you are not putting yourself in center. You're putting someone higher than yourself. And to ability to admit that there are some saints, that some spiritual masters, and there's some great devotees of Krishna, and they're higher than yourself. This is the sign of a progress. It's not a sign of degradation. So this morning, one person came to us, he's a friend of ours, and he said, well, I thought I'm doing yoga, I'm doing meditation, I thought I'm liberated soul. When I started reading books of Srila Prabhupada, I just realized this is not even beginning. This is less than beginning. I said, of course, when you're walking on the grass and you're measuring your height with the grass, you always look like a giant, but try to measure yourself towards the sky. Sky is a giant and you're a little dwarf compared to sky. So think of this, the liberated souls, they're in the sky, they're not on the ground. Don't try to measure yourself towards something which you can objectively analyze, which is something lower than yourself. A lot of people thinking, well, most people don't do spiritual life, they don't do any chanting, they don't do this, therefore I'm so great. Yeah, compared to atheists and compared to materialists, gross materialists, maybe you are more advanced. But compared to saints, compared to Krishna, compared to spiritual reality, you're nothing. And actually, you know, by associating with a higher principle, you will raise up. And by trying to adjust yourself towards somebody that's lower than you, you'll just be degrading because your ego will grow. So ego is one of our biggest enemies, Chintamani. Whether ego of being, you know, a monk is also great ego, because, you know, real saint, you're thinking like this: I'm so low because maybe for a moment I forgot Krishna. And some common spiritual practitioner thinking, oh, maybe I chant today, maybe I did not chant attentively, maybe I remember Krishna for 1 second. But the saint thinking, for 1 second I forgot God, that is like destruction of all my life. Why is that something causing my mind to forget Krishna? You know, what is the cause? Krishna is the most beautiful, the sweetest, absolute, but for some reason I forget him. What is that shadow reflection that put me into this illusion that I forget Krishna? See, that's why saintly people, they think in a different way. They're very self-critical, they're very self-adjustable. And Guru Maharaj said religion is proper adjustment. So anyway, Chintamani, thank you for your questions. I hope to see you this weekend with Jayadev and we can have a little kirtan. You're looking shiny, amazing. You have a wonderful hat. You had a nice breakfast. You're working somewhere in a nice place. Sounds like, you know, you're safe. An association of devotees. I love you guys. Thank you so much. So somebody else? Anybody else? If anybody hesitates, ask question in English.
Yes, Maharaj, we have a question. Mary, please, could you ask the question by voice?
Yeah.
Could be anyway.
I want to overcome my fear of abandonment and my need for external validation so I can serve without reservation, trusting Chaitya Guru to guide me. But for most of my life, those who were seeking to teach me discernment actually taught me that I'm not able to assess the accuracy of my perceptions and experiences. How can I learn to trust my internal guidance when my intellect has been trained to explain away anything that other human beings haven't corroborated?
Well, one thing about you is you're a very intellectual lady, and your intellect is your friend and is your enemy at the same time. So, and it's not somebody like me telling you, hey, you know, you don't really know your mind. If I would tell this to you, you could say, you know what, get off. I know my own mind. I know how crazy I am, and I know the level of my craziness, but I also know my mind gives me sometimes very good ideas. So we're not denying our own mind completely. And Arjuna asked Krishna, and he said, it seems like to control mind as difficult as control wind. And Krishna agreed, yeah, it's very difficult to become a yogi, very difficult to control mind. and very difficult to deal with yourself. That's why a lot of people, especially nowadays in Western world, they have psychiatrists, psychologists, they're going towards mental wellness, although they might be millionaire or billionaire, it doesn't really matter. So we know that we can suffer from our own self, and we are in the path of self-destruction. Therefore, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, look, you need to be a friend with yourself. You need to be a friend with your own mind. You need to know how to use this tool. So it's very interesting when we look at the mind. In Sanskrit, it's called manu. But manu, it's like a general idea. So how does it work? Well, we have different levels of consciousness that exist with our mind, like subconsciousness and external consciousness. So therefore, we have 5 dhyana indriyas and 5 karma indriyas, which means our senses, such as like mouth, eyes, ears, and also legs, genitals, hands, etc. So something which we like cameras, scanners, something that we experience world, and something that like our hands, something like we touch and move and walk and do things. So all these senses connect with our mind, and believe it or not, one of the nearest hub connection is ego. That's why it says you can't make decision based on your emotions. You have some emotional, storm coming into your mind because you're happy or are not happy, but this is just like a wave in ocean. So don't deal with ocean based on wave report. Try to understand the depth of ocean. So ego is something very deluding. At the same time, ego tells me I'm man, I'm woman. And just to give an example, for instance, right now, what the agenda is trying to push through media is the gender. It's very important to realize your gender. If you don't like your male gender, change to female, cut off everything you have, and you'll be happier. Yeah, that's true, but that is not your really true identity. See, what the news are deluding you, and what people trying to delude you is you are dealing with your external identity, but you have to deal with your internal identity. And you are the soul, immortal soul. So therefore, in yoga, they will explain to you that identity, the false identity is your ego, but you also have true ego. So now, what is higher than ego? The buddhi, intelligence, intellect. That's why, we think, well, if I just develop intellectual ability, then I can, it's actually a person who understands that I do live under influence of ego. But more than just intelligence is vyasatmika buddhi, spiritual intelligence. The spiritual intelligence based not just on data, not just on information that you have, the vijnana, the experience, I am the soul. I experience my spiritual self time to time, maybe not all the time, maybe not so clear. And once you achieve to that realization, then you will understand I'm different from ego, I'm different from mind, I'm different from senses. But that is called yogic process. Now, and according to Krishna and Arjuna and Bhagavad Gita, it is very, very difficult to follow, especially for people in modern age. So there was a big billionaire, Carnegie, and some IRS, the tax people came to him once, and they said, well, we believe you're very wealthy because you do a lot of tax hiding and manipulations. And he said, well, actually, I'm not. I can explain you why I'm super wealthy. Then, of course, the inspectors were very suspicious because, every billionaire hiding money and, probably getting all this money from illegal activity. But he said, no, I can explain you very simple why I become rich. And whether it's truth or not, the reality is you need to, hear his idea. He said, because I can concentrate on one thing for more than 15 minutes. And somebody would say, wow, this is totally BS, So if I learn how to concentrate myself for 15 minutes, can I become a billionaire? Well, according to your karma, but believe it or not, ability to control your mind and senses are very high yogic ability that gives you incredible power in this world. Because by able to concentrate your mind and pour your consciousness into something, you can make this alive, you can make this real. That's why the concentration of consciousness, if you're engineer or designer or artist, you can create Mona Lisa by just stream of consciousness. But of course, you can say in most of the cases, when you're dealing with high art or music, it's not just coming from you, it's coming from higher plane. But again, you need to get to that vibration. You need to have that consciousness to be able to grasp this poem or to reinterpret that art impression that is coming within you. So we can say everything exists in subconscious mind. So Guru Maharaj, Sridhar Maharaj explain levels of consciousness, paroksha. Paroksha means something you have with your, as you're born with your senses, like baby. He's crawling, he's walking. Since you're born, you already feel things. But then aparoksha, something that you develop in school, which is artificial intellect that loads your mind with many ideas, this, that, like for instance, yourself, you've been specializing in a particular part of spiritual education. You had to load all these files in you and process them, etc. So this is called paroksha, aparoksha. Then interestingly, pratyaksha, it's yogic style. Pratyaksha is something when you experience when you sleep, because it's not just within your senses. Like when you sleep, your eyes unplug, your hands unplug, all your indriyas unplug. And what do you experience? Sometimes you're experiencing transformation in your dream. Not all the time, like some of you may not even feel the dream, but sometimes, in your dream, in your own dream, you're experiencing something. And that is not based on the experience of your objective world. It's your subjective world, the subjective experience. So considering you have hands, legs, everything that you're using an external plane, but soul does not need that. You are existing within your mental plane, and you can feel without legs, eyes, etc. You can fly and you can walk and you can talk, but you're not using any of your senses. So it's all happens on your mental plane. So therefore, sometimes people say, well, I've seen Guru in a dream. I spoke with Guru in a dream. And that is not untrue. Sometimes it's true. Sometimes God gives you inspiration from your heart. But then the normally would be, why is that you need some physical being who's non-perfect to deal with you? Like, because we can say, well, Guru, although he's a spiritual person, he may not be perfect. He might wear glasses, or Guru might not understand social systems in the United States, or Guru may not be as learned, because a lot of, if you really look at our Guru Parampara, you'll see like Jagannath Das Babaji or Guru Kishore Das Babaji, they couldn't even read and write, but they were like, they were intellectuals. They knew how to read and write, and they knew how to express highest philosophy in a very modern way. But Guru Kishore Das Babaji, they weren't that kind of people, past and future, because they were liberated souls. So they were operating. Okay, can you guys hear me? It sounds like so the perception of Guru, but our physical senses and the divine perception of Guru are two different things. So as we will be mature in spiritual practice, then we feel more necessity of Guru. So it's just like, if you want to climb a mountain, you can read about, you can understand about mountain from Wikipedia, GPT chat, etc. You can learn everything about climbing. But when you start climbing, you really understand you can't do it alone. You need somebody with you. And as more you relate with that person, it more easy and more confident you'll be that, yes, I want to climb that mountain and that group of people. Yeah, maybe there are some other climbers. I cannot climb with everybody. I want to climb that mountain with a group of people because I feel secure, I feel confident, and they're not going to drop me halfway through, because which is worst. Think of this, like somebody just said, hey, you know what? We decided to drop you on a halfway. We actually help you a lot. You wouldn't even be able to climb without us. But you know what? We're not going to take it on top. Do you know why? It sounds like it sounds like we need to take a little break, tea break, or, like we actually been climbing. I've been climbing for the last 40 years and I took so many people on top. And this one, I don't think, I'm going to continue that. So it's okay. So that would be worse. That would be like, hey guys, I was like preparing to climb. I want to climb and I want to do that. But why did you drop me off? Oh, just because, you know what? I think I changed my mind. I really want to do something else. That's unacceptable. So that's why when some of my, a friend said, well, I've been working for so many years and preaching Krishna consciousness. I guess there's time for me to retire. I said, well, yes, if you would be just a common devotee, you could say, well, I'm retiring from my job or my family life. But because you are a preacher and you are sannyasi, etc., then what's the point for you to retire? Yeah, maybe you travel less. I understand it's not easy to travel when you're in old age, but how can you retire from like your disciples? Can you call your like disciple, say, you know what, amigo, I'm sorry, I took you halfway. I show you this, where to go, but I'm really retired. I'm no longer take you up. So that's unacceptable. And so a lot of people, they try to give up, like you digging gold, and suddenly you say, well, I've been digging gold all my life, there's no gold in this mine, I guess I retire because digging gold too far away, and then somebody else coming in and digging with a few shovels and find the gold. There's a lot of people drop business when they're too close to success. So that's not what you do. So you have very clear determination that you have to move on, and you're looking for a team of people who you're moving on with. And believe me, what I'm telling you right now, it's not something I just came up because I tried to give up Krishna consciousness so many times. And not because of just my ego. I just thought, well, I guess I have very bad health. Or I guess, I'm not really qualified, like Govinda Maharaj gave me a chance to become preacher and become a guru. I'm not so qualified. So therefore I have to give up my guru service and admit to everybody, oh, you know what, guys, I'm not perfect. Govinda Maharaj didn't tell me you're perfect. Or Govinda Maharaj didn't tell me, oh, you're perfect disciple. You only, then you can say, I need slight connections. See, because we cannot compare ourselves with Guru Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj. I thought of this a lot, and I have some, ideas, and some very radical ideas, and I probably do them soon. I'm not going to tell right now, everybody, because it's too secret what I'm working on. It's my secret plan, and the secret plan is very simple. Are we on that level of Prabhupada or Guru Maharaj or Gurudev? No, we're not. Are we on the level of Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj or Jagannath Babaji? No, we're not. But is that give us an excuse that we should stop our service? Does that give you excuse? Okay, you don't have love for Krishna. Does that give you excuse to give up on Krishna? Like your whole purpose of existence is to achieve love of God. The whole purpose of existence, not to become a professor, not to become a great mother, or not to become a wealthy person or a famous person. All of this is shadow illusion. You only have one ultimate goal, to reach love of God. And this goal within your DNA, within your existence, you can probably give up. Yeah, I can admit that. But the fact is that your solar existence meant for achieve lotus feet of Krishna. And therefore, although this idea sounds like bizarre and crazy, Krishna come in the form of guru every life to you. And what kind of guru you will receive, what kind of guru Krishna will pick for you, it's not pretty much up to you. You're not like like real estate magazine and say like, hey, this house costs that much money. Well, I can't afford it. I really like it. Or this one, You're not like swimming through portfolio of gurus. It's not like the gurus like call you every 5. Tell me what's your quality. I'm very versed in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, 100 different gurus. I pick 3, which I'm really trying to make deal with. And out of 3, I'm gonna make a deal with 1. And you know what? I made deal with 1. I don't really like that guy as much as I like 2 others, but he gave me significant discount. So we're not in the process of shopping. Although we have to plug in our brain and look for who will represent us the best. But I can tell you one thing: in our mission, nobody's more divine than Govinda Maharaj and Srila Sridhar Maharaj. You will not. It's like an ISKCON. ISKCON, they realize Prabhupada. So if you go to ISKCON, who did they talk? Prabhupada. Yeah, you might be such and such Das and such Swami, or you might be this and that, but it doesn't really matter. Prabhupada, that's what they say. Well, at one point, it's like Jesus Christ. From another point, that make a lot of sense. So we all servants of Guru Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj. Guru Maharaj is Rupanuga Acharya. He is qualified of line of Rupa Goswami. Govinda Maharaj is his unparalleled servant who proved all his life during his guru and after his guru of humility, tolerance, and love. Now, do you think we're on the same level? Are we on the same level? No. But does that stop you telling people about God because you're not Jesus Christ? Does that make you stop to talk about Jesus? No. So we have to be humble and sane to understand. With humility, I've been exposed to this highest idea, to this great saints. Let me do some service. Remember, guru is not just what connection you achieve. It's your service connection. The most important is how do you serve God? You serve through guru. If you think you can serve God on your own, well, good luck. That could be service of your imagination. But in reality, you do need to connect with devotees and start serving devotees. Govinda Maharaj used to say, Guru Maharaj answers so many questions of Western people because they're very intellectual and they had so many interest in philosophy. But he said, but for a lot of Indian devotees, that was not the case. In India, you understand, you surrender to Guru, you accept holy name, you come to, Goshala and serve the cows. And you know what? You come to Arati, you read the Bhagavad. Time to time, if you have question, you ask. But it's not like you sit with Guru, like with Google, and manipulate Guru every 5 minutes about some spiritual ideas that you can't even grasp it. You have to be mature to be able to understand, realize. The knowledge has to become solid knowledge. It has to become Vigyan, the experience, the true experience. That's what we're here for. We're not just for, we can't compete with GPT chat. It gives you so many different philosophical ideas in a second because it works better than your own mind. But what do you understand? See, GPT chat, he gives you information. He doesn't understand what he's giving. You need to understand. You need to process through media of your heart. All right. Thank you so much. Your question is very important. We see Pavel here. We see Narayani here. We see Russian devotees here. Maybe anybody else have any questions? I'd be happy to talk about.
Maharaj, question from Valery. Valery.
Okay.
Now we will push your mic.
Okay, thanks. Dandavat Maharaj and all devotees. So I wanted to ask a question about Jesus Christ. So Sridhar Maharaj says that in the spiritual world, everyone is Christ. Can you please explain what is the uniqueness of Jesus Christ? As I understood, there is a mention of him in Bhavishya Purana where he says that he was born from a virgin and he is going to bring religion to the Mlechchos. Also, his title, Christos, Anointed One sounds like it was derived from Krishna's name.
Yeah, this is an idea. And to tell you honestly, none of us really knows. Because there's a Christ of what the Christ is, and there's a Christ of propaganda. And one thing we know about Christ, if what we know is true, he had an extreme compassion to living beings. And that's what really touched people's heart. I don't think people are so excited that he lived in, ancient Judea under rules of Romans, etc. What really touching people, there's someone is sacrificed himself for the benefit of others. Because this is the base of Christian propaganda. There's someone is sacrificed. Now, the fact, whether he's studying Kashmir or travel to Jagannath Puri, there are a bunch of books which basically propose that. And there are a bunch of sayings from Bhavishya Purana, but we're not really, we don't have like real scripture evidence of that. That's a possibility. And so the basic idea is like, what is the Christ message? Love of God. What is love of God and who is the God? These are the two important things we need to understand. So according to Shastras, the Vedas, love of God called prema, it's transcendental, it's not mundane. He has unique features which fully attract you, like Rupa Madhurya, Rasa Madhurya, Venu Madhurya, etc. Vishnu doesn't even have possessed qualities of Krishna. All the Vishnu, even Vishnu of Vaikuntha does not display the sweet qualities that Krishna does. So think of this. In Vaikuntha, when you achieve the God itself, it appears to be God, and you're close to God. There's a abode which is higher than Vaikuntha, where all the sweet qualities of God is fully manifest. And they're fully manifest in Krishna Lila and Goloka, Krishna pastimes. So when Arjuna and Krishna were together, at some time, one Brahmana lost his son, and that Brahmana, as a spiritual, community person, he came to Krishna and said, "It is very inauspicious for Brahman to lose his son, the progeny, because my son disappeared. And I want to ask you why." Then Arjuna stepped forward and he said, "Well, you don't worry. I am the Kshatriya, the king blood. I will protect your son. It will not disappear. Give a birth to the next son, and I will protect him. I have a Gandiyo bow. I know how to deal with all the yakshas and dark forces. So I will, with my mystical arrows, I will destroy every enemy." However, after the birth of next son, the son has disappeared again. And Arjuna was very unhappy that he broke his vow. He wants to commit suicide by coming with his bow to the fire. And Krishna said, no, Arjuna, you're not to commit suicide. Because by committing suicide, you will not fulfill your duty to this Brahmana. What you should be doing is, you should be try to, complete this task, and I will help you. So Arjuna and Krishna travel all over the world, starting from Yamaraj to Brahma or Shiva, and they couldn't find the children of the Brahmana. They couldn't find them in the heaven, they couldn't find them in the hell. Then finally, they got advice, why don't you go to Mahavishnu? And Mahavishnu world, Mahavishnu, source of everything. So if you don't have your son in hell or heaven, you must apply to Mahavishnu. So they went to Mahavishnu and they saw Mahavishnu. And they said, well, we're looking for a son of Brahmana. And Mahavishnu smiled and he said, yeah, they're all here with me. And they say, why? Why did you take them? And Mahavishnu said, I only took them for one reason, because I want to see Krishna. And I know Krishna is always follow and protecting his devotee. Therefore, I stolen these children that I knew Arjuna will go to look for them. And I also knew that Krishna will help his devotee. So it's a very beautiful thing where Mahavishnu revealed. He's revealing like, hey, Krishna loved the devotees. He always helped the devotees. And he's also so beautiful. Even me as Lord Vishnu wants to get his darshan. Think how beautiful this story is. It's amazing. So considering all these things, you have any more questions about Jesus Christ, or you want to move to Krishna? Think of this, if Jesus Christ would talk about love of God, he would talk about like Krishna Prem. And now by the fortune of Vedas and great work of Jesus, now you know about Krishna. So my point is like, do we want to ask any more questions about, what's the difference between Catholic and Christian, and when you do properly Easter, or how the fire, or you say, okay, now I got it, what Jesus were talking about. Now I understood Jesus talking about love of God, love of Krishna, beyond Vishnu, beyond Shiva, beyond Brahma, beyond all the expansions, all the avatar, Supreme Lord, Infinite Lord. And that's where it should be your proper goal. Or you can use your life in order to go to India and discover the mountain where he was crucified. It's also a spiritual journey. We're not denying that. The idea is all these people that wrote book about journey of the Jesus, they did not realize one important thing. So if I write some book about some character, but I don't disclose the important part, why? What was his just? Oh, he just liked tourism, He used to love to hang out in other countries. No, that was not. If Jesus would travel to India, he might have to have looking for something he could not find in Judea. And if Jesus found something in India, guess what? When he come back to Judea, he wants to share with everybody, right? Maybe people did not understand who Krishna or Vishnu. Maybe they did not understood Sanskrit. In their own Judaic words, he explained to them, love of God is the most important. And these guys weren't even sure about, who the God is. That's how ignorant people were at that time. And if you really look at the ancient Judea tradition, all just they did is sacrifice of animals and stuff. So they're just like in Brahmanas in India, they would just do rituals. They weren't already, they lost the meaning, what the rituals for. Okay, you want to be happy, we'll make a ritual. Okay, you want to be more happy, we're going to cut chicken. Oh, you want to have more fortune, we're going to cut goats. Or you know what? If you really have money, if you really want to be more successful in your life, we're going to cut bull for you. So that was like mundane religion. Because it has nothing to do with love of God. It has to do with how much influence and power and success you want to have in your life. Which is understandable. People do anything for material success. Because they believe in material success. Do we believe in material success? Well, yeah, we believe that material success can sometimes be helpful on spiritual paths, but most likely material success will put you in illusion and make you forget about God. Therefore, God, Krishna, when he give mercy to somebody, he take everything away from him, because we're so much misconscious or weak consciousness that we can, feeling material success, we can lose the most important one. So that's why Krishna is, giving us mercy, taking away things from us. Like Srila Prabhupada, he could be very successful, but he became a guru and preacher. Lost everything in the material world and achieve everything in the spiritual world. So, next question. We have a gentleman here. You can come and ask on the camera.
I'm asking a question, but I don't know your Zoom address, so I'm asking.
Yeah.
You do exist here in this reality.
Yeah. That's fine. Frank.
I'm asking a question. Isn't the only real question, how can I serve Guru and Krishna? I mean, there really is no other question, is there?
Yeah, that's very important, because when we are coming to a conclusion that we want to get connection with God, means Krishna, then what is the best way that Krishna advises us? Acharya mam vijaniyam navimayeta karhichit namatra buchit suitra sarvadeva maya guru. Krishna explained, I'm the guru. So you want to serve me, you serve my devotees. I'm not just only one guru. I exist in the heart of every devotee. Every devotee can teach you something. It's not just like you're going to serve only Prabhupada and everybody else is nothing. So this is also a very limited perception. You'll find me within the heart of my devotee. And of course, there are different levels of devotees. There are very advanced devotees and there are very new devotees. So it says in scriptures, the new devotee, you try to help them by giving them proper guidance. The devotees who's on your same level, you make friends with them, and you make a good friend with them. So like you'll be very happy. And higher devotee, if you can understand who's higher devotee, try to serve him and get his mercy. So therefore you see guru everywhere, guru within higher devotee, guru within you when you give instructions, and you'll get inspired by everyone. You don't just say, hey, you know what? I'm such advanced, I don't hanging with neophytes. That's just the ego. You say, oh, you're a new guy? Let me explain you something. And then you start preaching. Like I met here in America one guy who came to program and he's giving lectures. And then he discovered I'm Swami, blah, blah, blah. And he told me, oh, Maharaj, you want to give talk? I said, no, I don't want to give talk. He said, why? I said, because I don't want to disturb your preaching. You're trying to preach. And I'm hearing you preaching and I'm very happy. If I can add something to it, or I can, discuss a little bit, but I'm not coming here to take over because I'm a big guru, big Swami. No, I want you to preach. And I see that your preaching is beneficial for you, me, and everybody else. But if you have any specific interests, I can explain you certain things, which is not what you've read. And so he said, oh, I understand. So basically you're preaching to the preachers. I said, well, at this point, I'm just trying to have an association and share and see what can I share with you, and I can see what can you accept. Because Krishna consciousness for adults is not easy to digest. Krishna consciousness for children, it's one version. And Krishna consciousness for adults is another version. All right, thank you so much. It was a good question. I like your question, very sincere, very important. Next, anybody else? Адитос, сделай чуть-чуть. Двойное плезинское. Ну что? Просто из-под крана воду и все. В кипяток. Anybody home? Rasananda, any more questions? As we say, Karpov made move that Kasparov start thinking for 45 minutes. When you have chess play, they make one move and then the guy thinking for 45 minutes or more, which means when you have a slight move, you can understand the chain reaction of everything. If what I've said is true, we all need a guru. And, I thought of that because I thought, well, now Gurudev is not here. Who's my teacher? And I can tell you, one of my teachers is you guys, because I have to perform in front of you. So that means you are my teacher. You're hearing from me and you are accepting or not accepting or saying, well, give me more, give me deeper. So it's not like a guru is just some kind of a guy with a beard who's flying on air. You'll see guru everywhere because that is the Krishna work. But you have to have a little understanding. Well, Krishna punish you, it's also guru. When Krishna grace you, it's also guru. When new devotee coming to you, you should also see guru. That's why it says, the exalted soul see guru everywhere. It's only we, devoid of spiritual basic reflection. But again, we cannot imitate that. That is not to imitate. We like this idea, but to really get this idea, to live by is another story. So in 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's Avadhut story. And Avadhut had 24 gurus. And one of them would be Sky, a bumblebee. What did he learn from Sky? Like I told this morning to you, his realization was always compare yourself with the sky. Don't compare yourself with the grass, because you're higher than grass does not mean you're a high person. Compare yourself with the sky and you understand you're nothing. It's a great realization, yes. What did he learn from arrow? He learned that the arrow is always non-moving. It's not like arrow is always remain. The world is moving about arrow. So what that means, like whatever you are, you remain the same. It's just the world moving around you. So if you really want to understand the growth and progress, go your internal level. Don't try to measure your progress by external conditions. Oh yeah, you're like, somebody wrote about your newspaper, or you've got that money, or you've got that property, or you've got that success. Yes, that is external, but try to measure your internal success through your internal values. Compassion, heart, service, that's what you should measure. Don't measure things from external world. People praise you one day, next day they forget you. One day you're in the news like a Donald Trump, next day nobody knows your name, nobody cares who you are. So don't try to be like satisfy the society. The society don't care about you. The society cares, you know, like don't try to be popular, you know, like Lady Gaga.
It says Level Brub have question.
Okay. What is the question?
Pavel.
Okay, Pavel is good. What's the question? Pavel is here.
Observation that this year, I mean, Orthodox Christian Easter coincides with our day of Ekadasi, which is April 16th. And I've been kind of thinking about it for a couple of days right now. And I would like your comment on that one, Maharaj. What would you think about it? For the people, especially who were baptized as a Christian and then came to Krishna consciousness and became a followers of Guru Varga and everything else. What would you say about it? But, well, there is no such thing in the world like coincidence. I strongly believe that there is no such thing. But it's quite significant for me that this year Orthodox Easter and our Ekadasi is the same day, 16th of April. Hello, can you hear me? The sound is pretty bad. Now I can't hear you. Is it only me or?
Good, but I grasped the depth of your question.
It's in chat, actually. I typed it down. It's in the chat.
Yeah,
Hello?
I got it. I got your question. Very good question. Well, first of all,
Losing the connection.
Cryptography means everything crypto software. Therefore, mystics complete with numbers and chain reaction. So nothing is in this world. Everything has a connection. But here's a deeper idea, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur said. He said, if we really understand idea of savior, because Jesus Christ's name is a savior, then we can say, okay, he saved me from death, he saved me from poverty, he saved me from something. But the deeper idea from savior is not just to save me from accident, is the idea of savior come with gift. So like what it says in scriptures, Mahaprabhu came with gift of love. Let's say Jesus saved you, but who will give you the gift of love? And what is the point to be saved without love? So those who will understand, I realize, guys, it's my fault because my internet, we have two houses here. and I was in bad network. However, think of this. You've been saved, but Mahaprabhu came to give gift of love. No avatars, even Krishna is not giving Krishna prema. Think of this, even Krishna, when he's coming to this world, he's not giving you love of Krishna. You hear about Krishna devotees from the Bhagavad and stories, and you can, if you have pure heart, you can connect with Krishna Lila, and indirectly you get love of God by hearing Krishna's pastime. But Krishna didn't came to save the world the way that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. So let's just be real. So that's why it says Vinde Vinde Gaura Padaravinda is how much important Mahaprabhu, because he's a Krishna who's coming as a savior and love giver. So when we talk about Easter, we can say, what does the Easter represent? Really, what it represents?
Resurrection.
Yes. So what is really true resurrection? Love of God. Like there's no resurrection without love. Otherwise, you just become what? Like Markandeya Muni. Markandeya Muni got blessing to live eternal life. You know, recently by studying some books of alchemy, I understand about some alchemical process where the Taoist, Chinese yogis, or Indians yogis could extend their life into like long time, like maybe 10,000 years, 100,000 years. But actually, it's very interesting what it says in alchemy. It's only worth if you follow the higher goal. In other words, for yogis, the extension of life, it's not what we think. The yogis, they believe you need to use alchemy because you need to have a very long practice. And the goal of yoga is clearly described in Bhagavad Gita. And the highest goal of yoga is bhakti yoga. It's been very clear. So whether you have a short time or long time, you have to understand what is the goal. Because if you don't have the goal, then you don't have the purpose. Like, for instance, what is the goal of business? Oh, get busy. No, it's not the goal of business to get busy. The goal of business is to make money, to free yourself from the business. So if all your life is you're doing the business and you're telling, well, it's not the money, it's the business my goal, then you understand. So you're just wrapped up in karma and activity. A good businessman, he thinks, where can I buy out of my business that I can have more time for myself, for the family? And then good businessman, he wants to become an investor. Because an investor is not somebody who does the business, who can understand the potential of other businesses. That's why they're the investors. And so they're the wealthiest people, not just because they do business, because they invest their capital into the business. And now we say, why are you talking about business? Because the capital is love. And what we need is to reinvest in the proper way, not just try to do our own. We have to invest our own energy, our own consciousness into something that will multiply our love of God. And that is Krishna consciousness. So from spiritual point of view, that's the best investment of your own self. Yeah, you can try to, you can try to become a Christian monk or Buddhist monk, and you can try to achieve some goals. That's fine. But what I rather do, I would rather invest my own consciousness into some high capitalization place, and that is the teachings of Mahaprabhu. But of course, I cannot invest in my own. I would co-invest. See, normally, the good investor, they tell you, if you don't know what to invest, you're going to be done. You're going to lose your money. But if you co-invest with the guy who successfully does it, even if you put a penny there, with dealing with expert will grow your capital. So I like to co-invest in the Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, because I know they're the expert. I'm not expert. I'm not like liberated soul. I'm just a fallen soul. I'm trying, I have numerous mistakes. I fail so many times. But one thing I did, I invest in the right place. And I can tell you interestingly, so my monk life, because before why I'm telling you those things, because I've been involved in business a little bit, not so much, but little enough to know how easy to make mistakes in business and how to screw business, especially when you're dealing with wrong guys. Like right now, I've been completely screwed by dealing with the wrong guys. And this is a good example for me because, look, if you don't follow the rules, it doesn't really matter how old you are. If you with the wrong people, you'll lose it. It doesn't really matter how great idea is. If the people wrong, you're gonna lose it. So that is my experience. Then you need to find the right people, the right partnership, the right mood, and the right attitude to continue your spiritual life and be able to reinvest. And that is the culture of faith and belief. That's a topic of separate lecture for sure. So what we are looking for, we're looking for to connect. We're looking for to invest our energy. We're looking for to support each other. Like one of my ideas is very simple. I never believe I'm guru, but my guru Dev told me. So if my guru told me you should do this, like, you know, when I become a monk, my guru Dev told me, okay, now that you become a monk, I want you to go travel whatever you can and preach Krishna consciousness, and that will help you. And then he said, whoever you will meet and you think these people are sincere, you give them Harinam, you give them initiation, and you bring them to me. And then my guru looked at me and said, and after I die, you will continue to do that. Then I said, oh my God, I'm like life sentence. It's almost like a blessing or curse. So now my guru told me, in my life, you should bring everybody to me. But he said, but because I'm very busy, you take care of them. It's another thing, right? It's not like, oh, I'm bringing you to you, Gurudev, you deal with these people, like, let me go on vacation. No. The Gurudev told me, you go on, you preach, you connect them with me, but you deal with them. I'm the high-level doctor, you know, the recipe you know, but you have to do your own practice. Practice means you try to cure them and you try to cure yourself. The medicine is good for both, for the doctor and for the patient. So that is my curse and blessing. My curse in this life that I will never be satisfied by anything mundane. My blessing is, as long as I preach about Krishna and put my mind into it, I feel like I'm in another reality. When I go back to my material mind, material senses, I'm just another frustrated man, just like you. It's like everybody, like Maurice, you know, she's super frustrated when she's on a material level. Why? Because once you got into some connection with spiritual reality, you know, this whole world is bullshit. It doesn't really matter how rich you are, how happy you are, how satisfied you are. Yeah, one day you can be, but on the end, the story, as used to be very famous Brazilian movie serial, the TV serial, you know, many episodes, and that TV serial all Russia watch, and this TV serial say, wealthies also cry. And that TV story about wealthy people, how they have problems with money, how they have problems with children, how they have problems with relationships, and what it tells to common people who think, well, if I just get money or if I get famous, I'll be happy. And then why everybody watch that movie? Because they see rich people are more screwed up than common people. They have more problems, more suffering. So this is a very good idea. It tells you like, hey, it doesn't really matter how successful externally you are in this world. If you don't have inner fulfillment, you're done. So guys, we're about finishing soon because I have to re-switch soon to my Russian speaking class, which might be completely different. So those who like to re-switch within 10-15 minutes, you're welcome to. And if any of you have any more last short question, let's do it.
Maharaj, was question from Anant Prabhu from Spain about is possible the quick, rapid progress in spiritual life?
Yeah, possible. Everything's possible. Guru Maharaj explained this. He said, if you are a new businessman, but you have to be qualified. And some big investor like you or a big firm like you, and they think you have talent, then after certain training and confirmation of your quality, they can let you manage big financial assets. That's how people get wealthy on like Wall Street, etc. Because they're going to somebody who's much, much more wealthy than them. And they're dealing with not their own capitals, with those investor capitals. But you need to be qualified. So if you're that qualified in spiritual life and you're dealing with high-level Mahabhagavata Vaishnavas, yeah, you can go very quick. But the question is, are you that qualified? This is it. It's like, are you willing to give up everything for Krishna? Are you willing to like follow Guru Sadhu Vaishnavas? Are you willing to sacrifice your personal time to study? Are you willing to reject everything material around you? Yeah, if you're that person, good luck. I'll take initiation from you. I'll take your instructions. I don't mind, like I'm listening to some Indian guy who's very young and he's a beautiful preacher and I'm happy to listen to his stuff. He's amazing. So what's the point? He's like, he's maybe twice younger than me, but he's 150 times smarter than me. So I mean, maybe billion times. So I get benefit by hearing from him. But I also get benefit by hearing from Gurudev or Guru Maharaj. So it's not just one source, but the idea is you connect with somebody higher than yourself and you surrender to that person and you will have a progress according to your sincerity and according to Krishna's will. But if you want to get something for nothing, it's not going to work in Hare Krishna, neither anywhere. It doesn't work this way. It's not a gambling. The gambling is an accidental achievement of success. And even behind success of gambling, some people from Vegas, they know, some people come to Vegas to gamble and they achieve. There's some higher achievement. And you know what the biggest problems with gamblers? Because the end of gambling, normally losing your whole capital. Because sometimes gamblers, they win. But if they're considering this idea that I'll get something from nothing, then they will have a very dramatic loss of their capital. So many people lost their money through gambling. And just why? Because at a certain point, they got to win. So don't be a gambler in spiritual life. In the beginning, you're going to win. But if you think all your life is to be just about gambling with Krishna and Krishna is supposed to, give you something for nothing, that's not going to work.
But a certain amount of risk, right? Isn't it? Didn't Guru Maharaj say all risk?
Yeah, well, risk management is another story. The thing is, what I'm trying to explain is don't try to get everything from nothing. Like, don't think, okay, I do nothing and Krishna will give me everything, but I don't have to do nothing. If Krishna is so merciful, what should I do? Let the Krishna do everything. Yeah, I've heard this bullshit many times. Neither of those people will ever succeed. There's always a bunch of, New Age hippies or Indian Mayavadis who's telling the same thing. I am so low. What is the problem? My God want me to be great. I'll become great. What do you want to do? And I'm telling you, my friend, what do you like to do for God? If you like to do nothing for God, why God has to make you everything? Because it's ego. It's all about idea. Like we think God is really sitting all day long and thinking about you. No, as we say, God help those who help themselves. Yeah, if you start scriptures, spiritual life, if you associate with devotees, then God thinks, yeah, it's a good guy to help. But if you're just playing yourself such a realized person, which we know you're not, it's done deal. Sorry. You can stay here millions of years with the idea that you're perfect. Who cares? Remember that story of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur about half rupee. The frog who lived by the pond, sadly, on the moon day found half rupee, not like 1 rupee, half rupee. It's like not 1 kopeek or half cent. So it used to be a coin like this in India, half rupee, which,
half baht.
Yeah, like half baht, which means like in America, it's like quarter, 25 cents, which means you can make a phone call. In the good days. So that frog who acquired half rupee, a little frog, he imagined himself a billionaire, gazillionaire, the most wealthy man in the pond, because other frogs had no even that. So he collect all the frogs and he established himself as a king of the pond and billionaire. And everybody said, like, what's the proof that you're billionaire? And he showed everybody the coin. He put the coin on his head like this. And everybody were like, oh my God, this guy really the richest person in the pot. So, and they surrendered to him and he said, okay, what's the problem? Now I'm your king. You can always complain to me and I will deal with that. So one little frog tell, you know, we're really concerned about elephants. When elephants come here, they disturb us. They sometimes step on us. You know, they shit near us, you know, and they have a lot of shit and they do this, they do that, they disturb the whole. Can you do something about elephants? So this new king of the frogs said, showing his half rupee, he said, yeah, not only elephants, I can kick anybody's ass. So anytime anybody of you guys hear about elephants, just come to me directly. I go and kick them out. All right, so a few days after, the bunch of elephants start moving towards the pond and the earth was shaking. So some of the frogs, they run to the king and said, Your Majesty, elephants on the way. He said, elephants on the way? All right, where's my half rupee? They give him the coin like a shield. And he said, let me go deal with this freaking elephants. So he came out and he starts screaming. But because elephants could not hear his voice, one elephant accidentally stepped on him. So then I show you the movie shot. The next day, they saw frog completely smashed to the stone and little coins were near his hand. And after bathing, elephants were passing by. So they couldn't even notice that this frog wants something. But if this frog would be a little smart, he would hide and wait. So this is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's story. He said, don't try to be like a half frog, half rupee frog. The elephant of time will smash you. No matter how famous, how great you are, try to develop something spiritually eternal. Don't try to oppose the world. Don't try to be a national hero. Don't try to be an illusion. As Guru Maharaj said, religion is proper adjustment. Try to change yourself.
So Trump might be half rupee frog. They just arrested him.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's all just fun, you know. To me, it's all fun and bullshit. But anyway, I mean, some people take this serious. Hare Krishna, no здоровья. Хорошо, хорошо, vodka. All right, guys, it's time for me to switch into the Russian class. I'm giving everyday class in Russian. I don't want to miss that.
How about Italian?
Yeah, I'd like to speak Italian. I would like to speak Spanish and Italian, but maybe in the future somebody translate it. I hope that something I've said made some value for you. At least for me, I remember not to be half frog and to be a little humble. And just like I've said, you know, I'm not any kind of big guru or big authority. I highly appreciate your time. You're saving me by your sincere faces. And when I talk, I can see a merciful emotion from your faces. So you've been very merciful. You're giving very good emotion. You're giving me support. I'll try to give you support. This is spiritual life. We're claiming the mountain. You know, we need to be warm with our hearts. We need to support each other. This is spiritual life. If we're not supporting each other, if we're finding fault with each other, that would be very, very bad. So let's try to continue in this good fashion with the spiritual support, love and compassion and appreciation, and Krishna will be merciful to us. My Dandavat Pranam, I'm signing out, and I'll see you in 5 minutes in Telegram. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Oh, by the way, give them the darshan of the deities. So Sudha Krishna Prabhu will give you a little darshan of our deities. Beautiful deities. Okay. Both. Okay.
give Gopa darshan too. Gopa, say hi to all of
devotees. Welcome to LA.
Malibu. Madhupuri Dham.
Welcome to Shmalibu. We have a very, very beautiful place in Shmalibu. And my Dandavad Pranam. So hopefully we'll meet again. And see you in Russian class. Dandavats.